Hello students, in previous class we already discussed about what is optics and the types of optics, like that is physical optics and geometrical optics or ray optics, and again we studied in geometrical optics what are the ray, what is beams, how image is formed through a plane mirror, what is a plane mirror and what are the characteristics of a plane mirror. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about another optical instrument that is known as a spherical mirror. So spherical mirror. So what is a spherical mirror? Basically spherical mirror is a part of a hollow glass sphere. Okay, for example, if this is a hollow glass sphere and I am considering a small portion of it, or I cut this portion. Okay, if this is the complete hollow glass sphere, then I am cutting this portion. So this segment will look like this. If I am cutting this portion, so this segment will look like this, and this part will become a spherical mirror if I am applying a opaque coating from the outside like this. Then the inner surface, if I am looking at this, the outside is completely opaque, so the inner surface will become reflecting. Then this type of spherical mirror is known as concave spherical mirror. Okay, if the outer portion is opaque and the inner portion becomes reflecting, so if the inner surface is become reflecting, then the spherical mirror is known as concave spherical mirror. And in reverse, if the inner surface becomes opaque like this, so the outer surface become reflecting, so this will become convex spherical mirror. Okay, so basically spherical mirror is a part of a hollow glass sphere and it can be of two types. If I am cutting this glass sphere from any portion, then the portion will look like this, and if from this portion I am applying some opaque material from the outside, then the inner side will become reflecting, light incident, and it will get reflect from the inner side of the spherical portion, then that will converted into a concave spherical mirror. If I am applying some opaque material inside the inside surface of the spherical portion, then the outside becomes reflecting. When light incident, it becomes reflected from the outside, then the spherical mirror will convert it into a convex spherical mirror. So basically spherical mirror are of two types, one is concave and another one is convex. So in geometrical optics we have to represent them like this. The concave spherical mirror will represent like this. This portion becomes opaque, so light incident from this side will reflect along this direction, so this will become a concave spherical mirror. Okay, and if the inner side becomes reflecting, light incident along this direction and reflected along this direction, so this will become a convex spherical mirror. Okay, so basically spherical mirrors are of two types, one is concave and another one is convex spherical mirror. Okay, so next we have to deal with some terms regarding with the spherical mirror. So if here this is a hollow glass sphere, okay, this is the center O, and I am considering a small surface, or I am cutting a sphere like this. This is the spherical portion I am taking. Okay, so it will look like this. The outer surface is opaque, this portion will look like this. The inner surface is reflecting because the outer surface is coated with some material which become opaque, so the inner surface will become reflecting. So from this region, so this will be a spherical mirror. So it's what type of spherical mirror? It is a concave spherical mirror. Okay, this is a concave spherical mirror. So regarding this, there are some terms we have to study. First one, center of curvature, denoted by C. So what is center of curvature? It is the center of the sphere of which the spherical mirror is a part. So at this point, this is O, okay, or let denoted it with C. Okay, so from this is the spherical mirror and it is the part of this sphere S. So OC is the center of curvature. So center of curvature denoted by C, it is the center of the sphere of which the spherical mirror is a part. Clear? Next, radius of curvature. Denoted by capital R. So what is radius of curvature? It is the radius of the sphere of which the spherical mirror forms a part. Okay, so here this will be the radius of curvature R. Okay, because the radius of curvature is the radius of the sphere of which the spherical mirror forms a part. Clear? So next we will study. So next we will study what is pole, denoted by P. So it is the center of the physical spherical mirror. Okay, so pole is the center of the physical spherical mirror. That means it is the spherical mirror. So the center of the spherical mirror, this point, is known as pole. Okay, so pole is the center of the physical spherical mirror. Clear? So we already know what is center of curvature, what is radius of curvature, and what is pole, and you have to remember the notation because these are required in throughout the geometrical optics. Next we will discuss what is principal axis. Next we will study principal axis. So what is principal axis? It is the line that passes through pole of the mirror and center of curvature of the mirror. Okay, so the line that pass through pole of the mirror and center of curvature of the mirror is known as principal axis. Okay, so this is the pole of the mirror, this is the center of curvature of the mirror, so this axis which is passed through it is known as what? Principal axis. Okay, next, aperture of spherical mirror. Denoted by D. So the aperture of spherical mirror is what? The aperture of spherical mirror is the actual diameter of the physical spherical mirror. That means here this is the real spherical mirror we are used. Maybe this is the part of this complete sphere S, but actually the spherical mirror is this much. This is the spherical mirror we are used. So the diameter of the cross sectional of this physical spherical mirror is known as what? Aperture of the spherical mirror. So here the aperture of the spherical mirror will be this much. This is the diameter of the cross sectional area of the physical spherical mirror. So this is known as the aperture, which is denoted by D. So what is aperture of spherical mirror? It is the diameter of the cross section of the physical spherical mirror. Okay, it is the diameter of the cross section of the physical spherical mirror. So this is the aperture of the spherical mirror. Clear? Next we have to discuss another term that is known as focus. What is focus? Denoted by small f or f. So what is focus? It is a point at which the incident ray after reflection may converge if they are coming from infinite or parallel to the principal axis, or you can say that focus is the midpoint of the radius of curvature. So what is focus? It is the midpoint of the radius of curvature. Okay, it is the midpoint of the radius of curvature. You can say that f is the midpoint of the radius of curvature. That means if this is complete distance is r, so the midpoint is known as focus. Or you can say if the incident rays are coming parallel to the principal axis, then after reflection they actually pass through or appear to pass through or appear to diverge from the point is known as focus. Okay, so it is the midpoint of the radius of curvature, or the point at which if the incident rays are traveling parallel to the principal axis, then after reflection they actually pass through that point or they appear to diverge from that point, then that point is known as what? Focus of the spherical mirror. Clear? So these are some terms related to spherical mirror: radius of curvature, center of curvature, aperture, principal axis, pole and focus. Clear? And these are the notations are generally you have to noted all these terms in the geometrical optics in your course. Clear? So you have to remember all the definitions and all the notations that will helpful for further studies. Clear? So next, all these terms that we are studying here are only valid for what? Paraxial rays. So here we have to study what is paraxial rays. So these are the incident rays. So paraxial rays are, these are the incident rays which are very close to principal axis. Okay, so paraxial rays, these are the incident rays which are very close to principal axis. And marginal rays, these are the rays which are very far from principal axis. Okay, so you have to remember all what we studied in geometrical optics. In every case we only deals with the paraxial rays. Clear? Because paraxial rays are very close to principal axis, so the image formation by paraxial rays will be easy, and if we consider the marginal rays, then the image formation by the marginal rays will get blurred. So in every case we studied in geometrical optics, we have to deal with the paraxial rays. What is paraxial rays? These are the incident rays which are very close to principal axis. You have to remember this. And in all case of geometrical optics, we have to deal with what? Only paraxial rays. Clear? So depending upon the distance of the incident rays from the principal axis, they are categorized into two parts. One is paraxial rays and other ones are marginal rays. So in geometrical optics we generally deals with only paraxial rays. So we already know what is spherical mirror, and there are two types of spherical mirror. One is convex and another one is concave. Basically spherical mirror is the part of a hollow glass sphere. If the outer portion of the spherical part becomes opaque, then the inner surface become reflecting, then it will be a concave spherical mirror. If the inner surface become opaque, the outer surface become reflecting, then it will become convex spherical mirror. And regarding the spherical mirror, we already studied some terms linked with the spherical mirror, that is what is center of curvature, radius of curvature, what is focus, pole, aperture, etc. and principal axis. Clear? So now we have to study some standard case of reflecting rays. Okay, some standard case of reflecting rays. So first of all, if here is a spherical mirror, concave spherical mirror. So in this figure, this is the pole, this is the focus, and this is the center of curvature, C. So if the incident rays are coming parallel to the principal axis, like this, then after reflection they pass through the focus. Okay, this is the standard condition. If incident rays are coming parallel to the principal axis, then after reflection they pass through the focus. So you have to remember, if incident ray are parallel to principal axis, then after reflection they pass through focus. Clear? This is one case. Then case number 2, if incident ray, this is the mirror, This is the principal axis, focus and center of curvature. Okay, if incident ray pass through focus like this, then after reflection they pass parallel to the principal axis. Okay, so you have to remember, if incident rays pass through focus, then after reflection they pass parallel to principal axis. Okay, if incident ray is passed through focus, then after reflection they parallel to principal axis. Next case, if incident ray pass through center of curvature like this, then after reflection it will retrace its path. Okay, so you have to remember case 3, if incident ray pass through center of curvature, then after reflection it will retrace its path. Clear? Okay, the next case, so next the fourth case will be, if this is the mirror, this is the principal axis, pole, focus, center of curvature. So if the incident ray pass through pole, then after reflection it will come back by making the same angle with the principal axis. If this angle is theta, then this angle will be theta. So if incident ray pole, then after reflection it will come back by making same angle as that of the incident ray makes with principal axis. Clear? Okay, and next will be, if the incident rays are parallel to each other but not parallel to principal axis like this. If incident ray parallel to each other but not parallel to principal axis, then after reflection they will meet at a point which lies on the focal plane or the vertical plane that pass through the focal point of the spherical mirror. So if this is the pole, this will be the focus and this is the center of curvature, and these are the incident rays which are parallel to each other but not parallel to the principal axis, then after reflection they will pass through a point which lies on the focal plane. Clear? So you have to remember this, if incident rays are parallel to each other but not parallel to the principal axis, then after reflection they will pass through a point on focal plane. What is focal plane? Focal plane is a vertical plane that pass through the focus of the spherical mirror, and all these conditions are same as for both concave and convex mirror. I am doing only for the concave mirror, and you can draw by yourself for the convex mirror. These are the basic general conditions for the incident ray, and according to the reflected ray, how they behave towards each other. The condition is valid for both concave and convex mirror. Clear? You have to remember all these conditions. So now we have to study about the sign convention, because in geometrical optics we have to study the sign convention. So in a concave, if I am considering the case for a concave mirror, this is the pole, this is the focus, this is the center of curvature. Okay, so this is a concave mirror, M dash. So sign convention. In geometrical optics, so what is the sign convention? So this is the center of curvature, this is focus, this is pole. So if this is center of curvature, so this length will be the radius of curvature, R. Okay, and this length will be the focal length, the length or the distance of the focus from the point or the pole of the mirror will be the focal length. Clear? So what is the sign convention? You have to remember the direction along the incident ray is taken as positive. You have to remember this. The direction along the incident ray is taken as positive. If the incident is traveling along this direction, then this direction will be taken as positive. From okay, the direction along the incident ray is taken as positive. Otherwise, negative. Okay, if the direction we are considering that is along the incident ray, then it will be positive. If the direction is opposite to the direction of incident ray, then it will be negative. Next, the direction above the principal axis is taken as positive, otherwise negative. Okay, you have to remember these 2 points in sign convention. If the direction is taken along the incident ray, it is positive. If the direction is opposite to the direction of incident ray, then it is negative. The direction above the principal axis is taken as positive, and the direction below or otherwise, if the direction is not above the principal axis, then it will be negative. Clear? And third point, all the measurements are done from pole of the spherical mirror. Okay, all the measurements. If this is the radius of curvature of the spherical mirror, then this R, the magnitude of this R will be measured from the pole and its sign will be according to the sign convention. If this measurement is taken from the pole and the center of curvature is here, so the distance of the radius of curvature will be measured from the pole to center of curvature, which is opposite to the direction of incident ray, because incident ray are come along this direction from left to right, and I am measuring the distance r from pole to C, that is from right to left. So for concave mirror, the radius of curvature will be minus r, negative, because it is measured opposite to the direction of incident ray. Clear? Similarly, the focal length is also negative because it is measured opposite to the direction of incident ray. Clear? And anything that measured above the principal axis will be positive and below the principal axis will be negative. So from this we can easily write the focal length. If here is a concave mirror, this is the pole, this is focus, and this is radius of curvature. Similarly, this is a convex mirror, this is pole, this is focus, this is center of curvature. Incident ray are coming along this direction. So after reflection they will pass along this direction. Here if incident ray are coming along this direction, after reflection they will goes like this. So they will appear to diverge from this point. Clear? So from this incident ray left to right, so the focal length f is measured from pole to a P to F, that is opposite to the direction of incident ray. So here f is negative and r is also negative. So for concave mirror, the focal length and radius of curvature both are negative because they are measured opposite to the direction of incident ray. But in this case, the incident ray is along this direction. So from pole we have to measure the focal length along same direction as that of incident ray. So here f is positive and also the radius of curvature is measured along same direction as that of incident ray. So the r is also positive. So for convex mirror, the focal length and the radius of curvature are positive, that is with the sign convention, and for concave mirror the focal length and the radius of curvature are measured as negative because they are measured opposite to the direction of incident ray. Clear? So you have to remember these two. This is for concave mirror. The focal length and radius of curvature are negative, and for convex mirror the focal length and radius of curvature is positive. Clear? And this is the sign convention. The direction along incident ray is taken as negative if incident ray is traveling in left to right. So from pole towards right it is positive, from pole towards left it is negative because incident ray are traveling from left to right. If incident ray are traveling from right to left like this, if incident ray are traveling from right to left, so from pole towards left is positive and towards right it is negative. So always determine first the direction of incident ray, then you will take it as positive. The direction of incident ray from pole will be taken as positive and opposite to will be taken as negative. It is depending upon the direction of incident ray, and anything that measured above the principal axis will be taken as positive and below the principal axis will be taken as negative. And any measurement in the geometrical optics is always take from the pole. Clear? So you have to remember the condition for the sign convention, and these are some basic information regarding focal length and radius of curvature for concave and convex mirror with the side. Clear? So now we have to study how to find out the relation between radius of curvature and focal length. What is the relation between radius of curvature and focal length? So relation between r, radius of curvature, and focal length f. Okay, so if this is a spherical mirror, this is the principal axis, this is pole, this is center of curvature C. Okay, so if a ray, incident ray coming parallel to the principal axis, after reflection it passed through a point, let it be F. So the normal at the point of incidence will be the same as that of the radius of curvature, because for this spherical mirror the radius of curvature will make an angle at this point. So this angle is I, this angle will be R. Okay, and this length is the same as that of radius of curvature R. So if this angle is I, then this angle is also RI, because in CF let this is be M dash. So in triangle CMF in this triangle, MCF angle equal to FMC angle. This implies I equal to R according to law of reflection. So if I equal to R and this distance is X, then this distance is also X. If this angle is I, this angle is R, both are same, and then this distance will be this distance, both are X, and this is the radius of curvature CM. So this implies I equal to R, so this implies you can write CF equal to FM equal to X. But what is CM? Radius of curvature R. So we can write X cos I. If this is X, this will be X cos I. If this is X, this will be X cos R. So X cos I plus X cos R equal to how much? R. So this can be written as 2x cos theta if I and R both are equal to theta. Okay, if and I and R both are equal to theta, so it will be 2x cos theta will be R. So this implies from this we will get what is X. X equal to R by 2 cos theta. This is the value of X, which is R by 2 cos theta. And what is the focal length? The distance of the focus from pole. So this will be the focal length. If PC is equal to radius of curvature, then PF will be how much? If what if this is as PC is also the radius of curvature, because the center of curvature, this is the common arc of the same center, so PC will be same as that of CM. So PC is equal to CM is equal to radius of curvature R. Then what will be PF? So this implies PF is equal to how much? PC minus CF. Okay, PF equal to PC minus CF. So this will be PC is equal to R minus what is CF or X. CF will be X equal to R by 2 cos theta. So R by 2 cos theta. So from this implies, so from this relation we will get what? This implies PF equal to what? Focal length F equal to R into 1 minus 1 by 2 cos theta. This is the relation between focal length and radius of curvature. So if these rays are very close to the principal axis, then this theta will be very small. If incident ray are paraxial, that means they are close to the principal axis, then theta tends to 0. So this implies cos theta will be equal to 1. So F equal to how much? R into 1 minus 1 by 2, that is equal to R by 2. So this is the relation between focal length and radius of curvature, and it's only valid for the paraxial rays, because for paraxial rays the cos theta is very negligible, that is tends to 0. So cos theta will be 1. So F equal to R by 2. Clear? And this is the general relation between focal length and radius of curvature for any spherical mirror, where theta is the angle made by the incident ray with the normal at point of incidence. Clear? So this is the relation between focal length and radius of curvature. So from this we will get R equal to how much? 2F. So radius of curvature is 2 times of the focal length, or focal length is the midpoint of the or half of the radius of curvature. So focus is the midpoint of the radius of curvature. Clear? So this is the relation between focal length of a spherical mirror and radius of curvature of a spherical mirror, and according to the sign convention you can determine either the focal length is positive or negative. Okay. So next we will study how image is formed. So image formation by spherical mirror. So how image will be formed by spherical mirror? So for this I am just considering a first concave mirror. Okay, so if here it is a concave mirror, this is the principal axis, this is pole, this is focus, this is center of curvature. Let M dash be the concave spherical mirror. So here this length is known as focal length F, and this is known as radius of curvature R. So for concave spherical mirror, focal length is negative and radius of curvature is negative. Incident is taken from left to right. So let the complete system can be divided into 4 parts. This portion is A, from infinite, minus infinite to center of curvature. This portion is B, this portion is C, and this portion is D. There are 4 regions A, B, C, D. Clear? A is from minus infinite to up to center of curvature, B is between center of curvature to focus, and C is between focus to pole, and then pole to plus infinite. That is D region. Clear? So during image formation you have to remember certain point. That point 1, if object is lies in A, okay, A means from minus infinity to C. If object is in A, then image must be in B. If object is in B, then image must be in A. That means if object is beyond C or to the left of F, then image can never be to the right of F. Okay, so the image and object cannot intermix between B and C. So if object is at A, then the image can never form at C or D. If object is at C, then image can never form between B and A. That means if object is at A, image is at B. If object is at B, image must be at A. Similarly, if object is at C, image is at D. If object is at D, image will be at C. So the focal plane separate these 4 regions into 2 parts, and the object and image can be interchanged between these 2 regions. They can be interchanged between 2 sides of the focal plane. Okay. So first point, if object denoted by O, or I am writing object, let it be denoted by O, is at A region, then image denoted by I is at B. If object is at A, image is at B. Similarly, if image, or again if object is at B, then image I is at A. Clear? Next, if object is at C, then image I is at D. Again, if object is at D, then image I is at C. If object at A, image at B. If object at B, image at A. If object at C, image at D. If object at D, image at C. Clear? Okay, these are some points regarding the regions. Clear? Next, if image is at B, B is small region because it is lies from C focus to center of curvature, the region is small. If image is lies in B, its size is reduced than object. because object lies at A, which is a very large region. So if image lies in B, its size will reduced than object, and it is inverted real. Clear? Next, if image is at D, A, okay, if image is at A, the region is large, the size is increased and inverted. Okay, similarly, if image lies between C, it will be small, and if image lies between D, it will be large. Clear? So these are the basic condition. If object at A, image must be at B. If object at B, image must be at A. Similarly, if object at C, image must be at D. If object at D, then image must be at C. This is for concave mirror. Okay, you have to remember these points. Never object and image interchange between B and C. That means the object and image lies left to the focal length, never comes to the right, and the object and image lies right of the focal plane, never comes to the left of the focal plane. Okay, and this is same for the convex mirror also. So now let's draw image for different conditions of image formation for the case of concave mirror. Okay, now for concave mirror, if this is object position, image position, and this is nature of image. Okay, so if object is at minus infinite, so this is the concave mirror, this is the principal axis, this is pole, this is focus, this is center of curvature, and it is up to minus infinite, and this is up to plus infinite. So if object is at minus infinite, then image will form, this is region A, B, C and D. So object is at region A, so image will be formed within region B. So if object is at minus infinite, then image will form at focus minus F. So the ray diagram will be like this. Okay, and nature of image, it is real and point. Okay, real and point image will form when object is at minus infinite. Image will form at focus. Okay, next, if object lies between minus infinite and center of curvature, like this. So if object lies within this place, that is from minus infinite, and center of curvature is equal to 2 times of the focal length, that is minus 2f. So if object lies between minus infinite and center of curvature, so if this is the region A, so the image will lies between C and F, that is the region B. So the image will lies between C and F. If this is A, B, this will be A dash, B dash. Clear? So the image will lies between what? F and C. So the image will lies between minus 2F and F. Clear? And nature of image, it is real, inverted, and as the image is formed in between very small region in comparison to the region of object, so its size will be reduced. Okay, then third case, if next object is at the center of curvature, that is at minus 2F. So what will happen? This is pole, focus, center of curvature, object is at center of curvature. So the ray which is coming parallel to the principal axis after reflection pass through the focus and which is pass through pole, it will again come back by making same angle with the focus. So this will be, sorry, this will be the image, let it be A, B, this will be same as that of A dash, B dash. So the object is at center of curvature, the image will be same as that of center of curvature minus 2F. Okay, so if this is at C, then image is also at C. And what is the nature of image? It is real, inverted, and of same size. Clear? So next, when the object is lies between center of curvature and focus, so if the object lies between the center of curvature and focus, this is pole, this is the focus, and this is center of curvature, the object lies between center of curvature and focus. So now the image will form beyond center of curvature. This is A and B. This will be A dash and B dash. As the object lies between the B region, the image will lies between the A region. So if object is between 2F and F, the image will lies between minus 2F and infinite. Clear? Okay. And the nature of image, it is real, inverted, enlarged. Because here object lies in the small region and image lies in the larger region. So the image is real, inverted and enlarged in comparison to the object. Next case, if object lies at focus. If object lies at focus, then the image will lies at infinite. Okay, this is focus, this is the object A and B, so the image will lies at minus infinite. So what is the condition of image? Image is real, and at infinite. Clear? Next, if the object lies between F and P, pole, then what will be the condition for image? This is pole, this is focus, this center of curvature. If object lies between F and P, that means if the object lies between the region C, then image will lies at region D. This will be the image A dash, B dash, this is the object AB. So here the image will form between pole and plus infinity. And what is the condition? Just right here. If the object lies between focus and pole, the image will lies between pole and plus infinity. And what is the condition for image? Image is virtual, erect and enlarged. Okay, so when object lies between focus and pole, the image will be erect, virtual and enlarged. Then the last, if the object this is pole, focus, center of curvature. If object lies behind the pole or object lies between pole and plus infinity, like this, if the rays comes like this, so the object will lies here, and the image will lies within pole and focus. Okay, so the image will lies between plus F and pole. Okay, image lies between plus F and pole. So image will be real, erect and diminished. But here object is virtual. Okay, so here object is virtual, image is real, erect and diminished. So when object lies between pole to plus infinity, image will lies between pole and minus F. Okay, so image will lies between pole and minus F. Okay, so these are the conditions how image form with respect to object and what are the ray diagrams, and this case will also be same as that of our convex mirror. Okay, so for convex mirror, this is the case of convex mirror. This is pole, this is F, this is center of curvature. Again divided the region into 4 parts, that is A, B, C and D. So when object lies at A, image will be at B. When object lies in B, image will be at A. And when object at C, image will be at D. And when object at D, image will be at C. So here only D is the region for the real case and all other cases are for virtual case. So you have to remember when the image is real or virtual. So for this you have to remember, if image and object are real, then image is erect. Sorry, image is inverted. If both are virtual and object are virtual, then image is inverted. But if one is real and other is virtual, then image is erect. Okay, so you have to remember this condition. If both are real, then image is inverted. If both are virtual, then image is inverted. But if one is real and other one is virtual, then image is erect. Clear? And when the image is enlarged in comparison to the object, or image is diminished or reduced in size in comparison to object, you can derive it from this region. If object is at smaller region, image is at larger region, then image will get magnified or enlarged in comparison to object. If image is smaller region and object is at larger region, then image will get reduced in size in comparison to the object. Clear? So in case of convex mirror, if object is at point D, so it will be real and image will be at point C. So here object is real and image is virtual. So image will be erect, but the region for the image is small, so it will be reduced in size in comparison to object. But if object is at C, that means your object will be virtual. Then the image will be at D, so it will be real, and as the region for image is large, so the image size will be increased in comparison to object, and as your object is virtual, image is real, so the image will be erect in nature. And similarly for A and B you can determine by yourself. So for the observation of object and according to the object, how to determine the position and nature of image, you have to remember this table and the condition where the object will be placed according to where the image will be placed. Clear? So next we will study the mirror formula. So you have to remember two cases for concave and convex. As this is a concave mirror, this is pole, this is focus, and this is center of curvature. So if object is at focus, image will be at pole. So for concave mirror, virtual object and virtual image can never be obtained. Okay, if the object is real, image is virtual. If the image is real, then object is virtual. But virtual object and virtual image can never be obtained. So in concave mirror, virtual object, virtual image can never obtain, but real object, real image can be obtained, because if object is at C, image will be within F and C, so real object, real image can be obtained, but virtual object and virtual image can never obtain. Similarly in case of convex mirror, okay, or like this is the case of convex mirror. So here real object and real image can never obtain, because if object is real, this is pole, this is focus, and this is center of curvature. If object is real, image will be virtual. If object is virtual, image will be real. But both virtual object and virtual image can be obtained between C and F and C and plus infinity. So in case of convex mirror, real object and real image can never obtain. Okay, you have to remember these 2 points. In case of concave mirror, virtual object, virtual image can never obtain. In case of convex mirror, real object and real image can never obtain. Okay. So what is mirror formula? So it is a mathematical expression which relates the focal length, radius of curvature or the image distance and object distance mathematically, or this formula is used to determine the exact location of image according to the position of object. Clear? So the mirror formula described as 1 by V plus 1 by U is equal to 1 by F, or this can be as 2 by R. Okay, so this is known as the mirror formula, where V equal to image distance from pole, U equal to object distance from pole, and F equal to focal length of mirror, and R equal to radius of curvature. Okay, clear? So V equal to image distance from pole, U equal to object distance from pole, F equal to focal length of mirror, and R equal to radius of curvature of mirror. So the mirror formula will be 1 by V plus 1 by U equal to 1 by F or 2 by R, and this formula used to determine the exact location of an image if the object position is known to us from the pole. So now we have to derive that formula, and this formula is valid for both concave and convex mirror, but the sign of V, F and U and R all are take with respect to the sign convention according to the spherical mirror. So I am just deriving the formula for a case of concave mirror. So if this is a concave mirror, this is the principal axis, this is pole, this is focus, and this is the center of curvature. Clear? So if here is a point object, O is at this place, and a light incident ray is incident along this direction. So the normal at the point of incident will be the radius of curvature. So this angle is taken as I, angle of incidence, and after reflection it will again come back by making the same angle with the incident ray, normal. So this is taken as R. Let the incident ray makes an angle alpha with the principal axis, the normal makes an angle beta, and the reflected ray makes an angle gamma with respect to the principal axis. So if O is the object, the incident ray after reflection meet at the principal axis, the point I, so I will be the image. So this distance according to convention is taken as V, and this distance according to the convention is taken as U, and this is the distance C to P, this is pole, will be taken as R. So let this be the point M, P and M dash be the concave mirror. So now in triangle O, M and C, in triangle O, M and C, beta equal to I plus alpha. So you can write in triangle, or if this height will be very from pole to M, if the aperture is very negligible, this height can be taken as H, MP is taken as H. So in triangle we can add M, if this point is very negligible, this distance is very negligible in comparison to P, so this can be taken as MP. So you can write alpha or tan alpha equal to how much? H by U. Similarly tan beta will be how much? H by R, and tan gamma will be how much? H by V. Clear? If the angular alpha, beta, gamma are very small, if the rays are paraxial, then this can be simply written as alpha equal to H by U, beta equal to H by R, and gamma equal to H by V. if or as alpha, beta, gamma are very small, because we are considering only the paraxial rays, so these rays are very close to principal axis, so alpha, beta, gamma are very small, so we can write alpha equal to h by u, beta equal to h by r, gamma equal to h by v. So now in triangle OCM, alpha plus I equal to beta, alpha plus I equal to beta. This is the exterior angle. Similarly, in triangle CIM, let it be equation 1. In triangle CIM, gamma equal to beta plus r, beta plus r equal to gamma, equation 2. So from these two relation we can write 2 beta alpha plus gamma, because I and R are similar, so from these two relation we can write 2 beta equal to alpha plus gamma, because here alpha plus I equal to beta from this triangle, and then beta plus r equal to gamma, beta plus r equal to gamma. So from these two equations 2 beta equal to alpha plus gamma. So from this implies we can write what is beta, beta equal to h by r, so 2h by r equal to what is alpha, h by u plus h by v, gamma. So h will cancel, so this implies 1 by u plus 1 by v equal to how much, 2 by r. Okay, clear? So this is the relation for what, mirror formula, and 2 by r will be how much, f by 2. So this is the mirror formula for concave mirror, and we can determine it for also the convex mirror. So here beta plus r equal to gamma and alpha plus I equal to beta. So beta can be written as gamma minus r. So if here I am writing beta equal to gamma minus r, so r I will get cancelled. So 2 beta will become how much, alpha plus gamma. Clear? So this is all about your spherical mirror and how to calculate the mirror formula and the image for spherical mirror. Okay, thank you.